In this video, we will be decorating sugar cookies for Christmas.
And to chit-chat with me, just as if we were together. This is GiGi B, and this is Fun with Grandma. In this series of videos, we'll be doing coloring, cooking, crafting, chit-chatting, and more. It'll always be fun. But before we do that, of course, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you'll be notified of all of the upcoming videos from GiGi B. So, let's get started.
This video shows me decorating Christmas cookies. I've already made the sugar cookie dough. I made my own, but to make it quicker and easier, you can use pre-made sugar cookie dough, which is available at grocery stores if you want. While I decorate my cookies, of course, we can chit-chat. For this video, I'm also using pre-made icing. I want to show a way to make decorating cookies as easy as possible. On other videos, I will make the icing and color it. I like that idea because I want more icing colors, especially black, brown, and yellow. I was only able to find icing in red, green, and white packages. I'm happy I also found googly eyes. You know, I think whatever project you're working on, if you see googly eyes, grab them. There's a lot to be said, though, about doing with what you've got. In fact, there's a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Think about it. If you're missing some gear or ingredient or material that you think you need for your project, then you've got to get creative. And that's a good thing. You might discover a new way of doing things. Besides, a lot of people get stopped in their tracks. Say they're cooking a recipe and they don't have a particular spice or other ingredient. They stop what they're doing, they go to the store, then they don't have time when they come back to finish. It's very good to work with what you've got, if possible. Notice I put wax paper over the tablecloth to protect it from messes. There can always be messes. Now, when I was out shopping, I could not find a snowman cookie cutter, so I used glasses to cut out 2 circles from the cookie dough, and then I put them together to kind of sort of make a snowman. I began by drawing a border around the snowman. Then I drew lines of icing to fill in the snowman's body. You have to press pretty hard on the bag to make the icing come out. I use a knife to spread the icing. I did not cover the area where I planned to do a scarf hanging down from his neck. Next, I use a knife to spread the icing. I put the cap back on the icing bag to keep it from drying out. And I put all the icings in a bowl with the tips pointing up so they don't make a mess on the table. And so it's easy to see them and grab them when I want them. Now I'm using green icing and making this scarf. This icing doesn't make a very thin line. I want to have thin lines sometimes, so I ordered colored icing pencils. I'll use them in my next cooking videos. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. To remind you, we color together, we make cookies, we make cakes, we make cupcakes, we make crafts, we make music, we have fun. So subscribe so you don't miss out. Oh, I see that because I have to squeeze the bag as I'm putting on color, you don't get to see exactly how I'm doing it. I have to have my hands in the position that they're in. I'll experiment with different camera angles for next time. Did I tell you this is the first time I've decorated cookies like this? This is an activity we can do together if you want to make cookies and decorate them with me. Whether or not you're doing it with me, though, we'll talk about the decorating. We'll also just chit-chat about life, about you, and more. We've talked in other videos about taking it easy on yourself when you're new to something. Until you have practice, don't expect to do things perfectly. In fact, as I add red to this scarf, I went over on his chest. I tried to cover it up. Now remember, I'm new to this and I didn't have an actual snowman cookie cutter, so there's no hat. Besides, I don't have black icing or blue icing or brown icing. That's okay. My idea of a snowman includes a top hat, but hey, at least I could have added a smiling mouth. Now I'm doing a tree with a green background. I want that to dry before I add more icing. I told you before that the icing is kind of hard to squeeze out of the tube. It is. It's especially difficult since I want to do a whole background color. Look at the red icing bag. See the cookie there? It's an outline and a little star, not the whole cookie covered. But I want the full background covered, so that's what I'm doing. Do you have thoughts about how I should do the background? Let's talk a minute about preferences. When I am making cookies for me, or for me to give as gifts, I should do it according to what I like, don't you think? That's what I'm doing. I prefer to do it the way that I am, especially since I'm new to it. I don't exactly know what's available in how I can make these cookie decorations go. You might prefer it a different way. Who's right? You know what? Often there is no right. There's what you prefer, what you like, and there's what I prefer, what I like. Next, I'm doing the snowflake. I'm doing the background of the snowflake with white. We were talking about what's right with decorating cookies. Neither of us are necessarily right. Besides, there are two things I want to accomplish with this cookie decorating project. One, I want to get practice and experience doing it. We can all learn from what we do well. Just do more of that, right? But we can also learn from what doesn't turn out so well. That is, we can learn from mistakes. We can learn what not to do and avoid doing that same thing again. Some say we learn more from our mistakes than any other way. But some people are so afraid to make mistakes. People are so afraid that they might be criticized or someone tell them that they didn't do good enough or that they aren't good enough. Some people are so afraid of that they don't even try. Think about it. If you don't try to make cookies and to decorate them, what you end up with is no cookies. The second thing I want from this cookie decorating project is to express my creativity and to share my love by giving cookies to others and to myself. We have to love ourselves too, don't we? Now, think about it. If you give cookies to your grandma, do you think she'll mind if the snowman has no hat? Probably not. But if she says, hey, where's the snowman's hat? Just tell her it blew away or someone else already bit it off. Be fun. Look at the happy side of whatever happens and you'll be happier. This cookie decorating and the idea of preferences and what's right and what's wrong and what's best to do and mistakes and all that. This reminds me of a famous artist, Pablo Picasso. Here's one of his paintings. Do these really look like three musicians? Well, I never met anyone who looked like that, did you? Yet, it's a very popular painting. He's a very popular, famous artist. His paintings are hanging in museums all over the world. Hey, could you tell Grandma that Picasso said you should not include a hat on your snowman? You know what? Talking to you about Picasso gives me an idea. Someday, let's make cookies or a salt dough project in the style of famous artists. Like Picasso, we could make faces that are crazy. Another artist we could be inspired by is Salvador Dali. He's known for his melting clocks. Do you like his picture? If you don't like it, that's your preference. His paintings are worth millions of dollars. So other people have their preferences regarding his artwork. But we have got to do cookies inspired by famous artists. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you receive all the videos I produce. After all, I make them for you. Yes, you. For us to be together, kind of, sorta, over the internet on the YouTube video. It's like we're sitting together. It's like you're here with GiGi, with GiGi B, having fun, making projects, cookies, crafts, whatever, and chit-chatting. Here's a painting by another famous artist known as Grandma Moses. She didn't get serious about painting till she was 78 years old. I think it would be fun to make cookies in the style of different artists. Which ones would you want to do your cookies like? So back to our cookie decorating and our snowflake. I just remembered I have silver sprinkles that would look great on this cookie. So sprinkles it is. Of course, make sure you use only edible additions on your cookies unless they're big. And you'll see I do that sometimes too. The eyeballs that you saw me put on the snowman are made of sugar. Now onto the star cookie. While making a star cookie, I'm reminded of the Christmas star. On December 21, there is what they call a great conjunction of the planets Jupiter and Saturn. They will appear in the night sky as they come together. They'll appear kind of like a single star. They call it a conjunction because the two stars cross paths over one another, making it look like one big star in the sky. They say that this also happened around the time of baby Jesus. And the star that the wise men saw in the sky was one of these events. So that's why now they call it the Christmas star. Cool, huh? What's really cool is that this star hasn't been seen from Earth, although those planets pass over each other about every 20 years, but this being this close, this conjunction as they call it, being this close, hasn't been seen well from the Earth since the year 1226. That's a long time ago. Since this event is so rare, it's very special for us to be able to see it. Is your family planning on going to see the Christmas star? I'll be going. back to talk about making cookies. I did just a little outline on this star. I just don't know yet how I want to decorate it. It's difficult to plan in advance when you don't have experience with, in this case, decorating cookies. Remember, I had put the Christmas tree aside for the green icing to dry. I add white to be like snow on the boughs of the tree. Then I add red ornaments. I would also like to have other colors to have a more colorful tree, but it is full of love, isn't it, this cookie? You know, I would particularly like to have yellow so I can put a star at the top of the tree. So I move on to the circle. You know, I like to do words. You can count on me to always write love. When I say love, I don't mean romantic love, like lovey-dovey between a man and a woman. I mean loving, caring about and for people, pets, and the planet. Love is both a noun, it's a feeling that we have about someone or something. We say, I love chocolate. I think it's more important when we turn love into a verb, into an action word. Think about it. When you love someone, can they really feel it more when you do something loving? It's easy to say I love you and to look into somebody's eyes, but it means more for you to take time and effort to do something to show your love. These cookies are a good example of taking action to show your love. We want to make cookies as a gift of love, so we have to do the work. And people know cookies take a long time to decorate, or if they don't know, we can tell them. So they feel even more loved by the cookies we decorate than they do by something you can just go buy at a store. I'll let these green leaves dry before I add berries later. I used the same cookie cutters for these cookies that I did for a craft where we made salt dough Christmas tree ornaments. But it's way easier to make the ornaments using paints and Sharpie pens. As I said, this is my first time decorating cookies with icing. It's not easy. Are you doing it along with me? Then you know it's not so easy. And the icing is thicker and doesn't do exactly what I want it to do. And all that makes the gift of cookies that you make really special. When something is hard and people know it, they appreciate it. Now, I've got cookies I made from a gingerbread man cookie cutter, but I don't have any brown icing. What should I do? I just could leave the ornament as it is and add some gingerbread man details, but I don't want to do that. I decided to make it a green man, as if he's green, like he really cares about the earth and the environment. I'm green, so I like that idea. After all, we only have one planet, so I think we ought to be good to it. Don't you think so? If we waste water and other important resources like fuel, we'll be in trouble. But what can we do? You've probably heard it before. Recycle, reuse, reduce. Recycle. Don't just throw everything into the trash. Put recyclable items, like some plastics items, in recycle bins so they can be turned into new products. Plastic or paper bags at stores are a good example of this. We can take our own bags that we use over and over again and not waste getting new bags from the store. It's the same with little plastic bottles. Instead of wasting plastic and filling up the landfill with the little bottles, we can have a sturdy, reusable glass or cup that we refill with water over and over again. reduce. We don't need so much stuff. We want stuff because we see what other people have and we want it too. Plus, we are constantly advertised to. People who make products want us to buy their stuff, so they advertise to us constantly. Sure, all this is grandma wisdom, but what do you expect? I'm GiGi B. It's a good thing for you to do your part to take care of the environment. What do you think? Okay, so we've got our green man. He's a happy guy, so I put on a red smile. I want him to have a red heart because he loves people, pets, and the planet. Here's my first try. This looks like his heart is melting. That's not the look I was going for. Well, that's what's called an oops. I needed to wait for the green icing to dry before I added the heart. Remember what I said before? We can learn from our mistakes. I really like the idea of a green, environmentally friendly man, but that man with a melting heart does not express the idea I want to convey. So, I'm trying again right away. Sometimes when we make mistakes, we feel like giving up. Some people do give up. I think it's better to try again. I get right on it making another green man, but this time I wait to add the smile and the heart. Let me ask you a question. Do you like to wait? Me neither. I don't know anyone who likes to wait. But if I'm not patient, I don't wait. I'll make a mistake and have her running out again, right? So I wait. Practicing patience isn't easy, but remember, that the cookies are hard means it's a more special gift. That many things that are difficult to do are considered more special, more valuable than things that are just so easy. So be patient. Besides, you'll find that that's an attitude that you can take, an attitude of being patient that will serve you well for your entire life. Have you ever felt impatient? Have you ever seen someone else be impatient? An adult be impatient, maybe while on the road, waiting for traffic, in stores, waiting for a line to move. There are so many places and ways that we just need to be patient. We could be upset about waiting. That'd be an easy choice, but that would also be a choice that is not going to lead to feeling happy, not going to lead to feeling joyous. Many things in life depend on what we tell ourselves in our mind. Things happen all the time. Sometimes waiting is having to wait is one of those things that's happening. The more we learn to control what we say to ourselves in our mind, the better we will feel. While I'm waiting for the green man to dry, I make more cookies. I don't just have to sit and wait. I can decorate more cookies. First I make the snowman, the second snowman. On this snowman cookie, I had added a piece of dough for the scarf. That makes it easier to fill in the color on the scarf. And in case you can't tell, I'm speeding up this clip. This snowman gets a smile too. And fill in more of the stripes on the scarf. Still no hat, but I think this turned out well. Remember, I couldn't think of what to do with a star. Well, now I have an idea. I'm going to do a word. What do you think that word will be? I already did love, so this will be joy, which fits just fine in the cookie. I also want to have the word peace, but the cookie is too small to write that whole word, especially since it's kind of hard to write with these icing bags. So I do an outline, I do a border. This cookie will be part of a set of words. I did love, I did joy, and those cookies I use green and red. So looking back, now I'm editing the video, looking back I can see instead of doing a white border, it would have been better for me to do a border either in green or red so that it would match the other word cookies. Then I add a red peace sign. And if you notice the love and the joy cookies at the top of the screen, wouldn't it look better if this had a green border? I think so. Now I'm making another cookie with a red border. And this one I'm going to fill in to make it a solid red background, which, remember, takes a lot of icing, and I have to be patient again here while I'm working. And once I'm done filling in with all red, what do I have to do before I can add more to the design on this cookie? I have to let the red wait. It has to dry out more before I add more to it. So there's more than one kind of ways to be patient, isn't there? We had to be patiently waiting for the green man background to dry so that we could make additions to it. Now we have to be patient while we're actually doing the work. Well, we mentioned before that adults can get impatient in traffic. Say the traffic on the road stops and they have to just sit there and wait. That's different than if you're going to drive a very long distance, even as a passenger in the car. You have to be patient and wait until you get there. Patience is really an important skill to develop. You can feel a lot better about waiting if you get your head straight. We already said that earlier, what you think to yourself. For example, if I'm stuck in traffic and the cars aren't moving and it looks like maybe there's been a car crash up ahead, I say to myself, well, I don't like sitting here, but it's sure better than having been in a car crash. Is that a silly thing to say? No, it really puts things into perspective, meaning I can see clearly. Sure, having to wait is not, as we said, nobody likes to wait, but there are much worse things that can happen. So give it a try. Learn to be patient. So now the red cookie is drying, and we can get back to our green, environmentally friendly man. Started out as a gingerbread man. Now, how do you think this heart will turn out compared to the other one where we hadn't waited for the green to dry? We meaning me. Yay! It's a much better heart, huh? Now that the red background has dried, I'm going to add XOXO. That means kisses and hugs, kisses and hugs. I love adding XOs in my messages and tweets and just all the time. I love X's and O's because it's a way to quickly and cutely express your love. Now remember, I told you I had not decorated cookies like this before. Do you think I'm getting better at it now that I've had a little bit of practice? Practice helps you get better at whatever it is that you're doing. So there's a little XO cookie. Now that we finished a bunch of cookies, let's compare how some of the similar ones look. Here we have the gingerbread man, the environmental man, with a melty heart and a better heart. See, practice does make a difference. But it's not just practice, is it? It's paying attention to what works well and what doesn't work. In this case, if I hadn't noticed that I needed to let the icing dry before I added another color on top, I wouldn't have been able to do better the next time around, could I? So paying attention goes on our list of things to do also. I added silver sprinkles to one of the snowflakes. Which do you like better? One of these snowmen has a smile and a nose. Which do you like better? I think I'll get even better at making snowmen with more practice. We keep saying that, don't we? Practice helps. What do you think about the ones where I would say I made a mistake? Some people think they still look pretty cute. And one of my friends who does a lot of baking said that my sugar cookie recipe was the best she ever tasted. So I will be doing a video with that sugar cookie recipe. Of these two, which do you like better? As I said earlier, if I had it to do over again, I would have made the border for the peace sign cookie to be green so it would match with the love and joy cookies so that they would be a set. Because those are 3 words that we say a lot at Christmas time. Peace, love, and joy. How about these two? Which do you prefer? That was a trick question. Both of these, I think, are good cookies. What do you think? Here are the cookies that I'm really happy with. As I'm looking back at the cookies I made, I can really see the importance of planning ahead, of understanding how this icing works and how it doesn't work, and about patience, and about practice. Also paying attention to what works well and what doesn't, so that in our practice we can be thinking about what we're going to do differently next time so that we can do better next time. You know, I'll be making cookies for New Year's, for Valentine's, for all of the holidays coming up. I'll be getting more practice and hopefully better. I hope you've had fun decorating cookies with me. We learned a lot, didn't we? About planning, about patience, about practice and how we get better, how we learn even from our mistakes. This has been a Christmas cookie making time with GiGi B. I wanted to have an experience of making Christmas cookies, and I also wanted to have cookies that I could give away as gifts. I did both of those two things, so yay!
Of course, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you'll be notified of all of the upcoming videos from GiGi B. In this series of videos, we'll be doing coloring, cooking, crafting, chit-chatting, and more. It'll always be fun. We're along with Grandma GiGi B and to chit-chat with me, just as if we were together.
Well, I hope you had a good time decorating Christmas cookies and chit-chatting with me, GiGi B. Now that we're done with this time together, there's more for you at gigibclub.com. There's more coloring pages, puzzles, stickers, posters, and more. And at GiGi B Club for Kids on YouTube, you'll find story times, more coloring, crafts, cookies, cakes, mindfulness quiet time, sing-alongs, and more. So until next time, this is Santa and GiGi B saying ho, 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 Merry Christmas! See you next time. Mwah!